Hey guys, it's Maria Eckersley here with another teaching tip. This week's tip focuses on how to add a little bit of variety in your class by incorporating some games. There are great games out there, like at Deseret Book, places like that you can find great LDS themed games, but honestly I really feel like you kind of need a bigger variety than what's out there. So what I tend to do is I tend to grab just standard games that my family likes to play already, and I like to incorporate those into my lessons. So what I usually do, especially when I'm teaching the youth, is I will take the first chunk of class, maybe the first 25 minutes or so, to teach the lesson, and then I offer the game as kind of a reward for the last 15 minutes or so of class. And then generally I offer treats. I have no problem with treats in class as long as they had to earn the treat in some way and it doesn't make a mess in the classroom. So I thought I'd go through a couple of the games I like to use, but really you could use almost any game. So generally what I do is I teach throughout the class, and then I split them into two groups or maybe three depending on how many kids you've got in your class, and then we play a game of some kind. So for example, one of the popular ones with little kids and teenagers at my house is this one. It's called Boom Boom Balloon, and you've probably seen it. It's been out for a year or two. And essentially what I would do is I would teach in class, I teach the lesson, and then I put this out in the middle on the floor, and then I ask questions related to the lesson. So if we're teaching about baptism, for example, I would then ask a series of questions about baptism. If they get the answer right, they're safe, they don't do anything. If their team gets the answer wrong, then they have to push in one of these little clicks. There's a dice that comes with it, so you can't have them roll the dice, and if they get a 3, they have to push it in 3 times. But you'll notice that over time, it gets pretty intense, and the game, the balloon gets tighter and tighter. But what I love about this, and eventually, obviously, it pops, and that team then loses, and the other team gets first dibs on the treat. They both get treat eventually, but I usually give the winning team first dibs. But what you're trying to do is you're just trying to kind of build excitement in the class, a little bit of enthusiasm. I also find it really makes them pay attention better in class because they know that there's a reward coming and that they're excited for the game part. So in a seminary class, in a youth class, even in a primary class, I usually try and incorporate some kind of game. And honestly, it tends to just be a simple game like these that I can just grab out of my game box and run. So here's a couple more. So this one I actually bought at Deseret Book, but you can find it on Amazon and a couple other places. It's called Wonky. It's kind of Jenga-like, but it's got funky shaped cubes instead of flat ones, so it's kind of a fun one. Really easy to incorporate in. Another one obviously is Jenga. It's a classic. Can't go wrong with Jenga. As they get answers wrong, they have to pull out a piece, or you can have them build the tower. You can do all kinds of things. Another great spot to find weird games is TJ Maxx. So I bought, this is just a bunch of tin cans, those retro games. You build a little tower and then they throw beanbags at it to knock it down. And the first team to knock it down gets the prize. So it's really simple. Honestly, you can do almost any game. Just figure out a way to kind of ask questions and have the reward be that they get to take a step in the game or play in the game. One, it makes it easier for you because your lessons, the part where you're actually teaching, is a little bit shorter. And 2, it's easier because your kids are more engaged and they'll remember things better and they'll work as a team, and all of that's good. So that's my tip for this week. Next week I'm going to give you some tips on some online games that you can incorporate into your class. So I'll be back next Monday with more tips. Thanks guys, good luck.